Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of The Poetry of Painting. And it's a great joy this week to be able to welcome back to the show someone who hasn't been on it for way too long, and really looking forward to hearing his poetry. And also to talk about all sorts of things to do with poetry, art, books, and camping. So, please welcome back with me, Ritesh Nigam, to the show. I'll bring him onto the screen. Hi, Ritesh. How are you?
Hello, hi Fiona. I'm very good, thank you. And
Good.
it's lovely to be back.
Excellent. Well, it's lovely to have you back. And a big welcome back to everybody who's watching, whether you're watching live or on replay. And as I always say, please do feel free to join in, make some comments, ask questions, whatever you'd like. Just join in and that'd be lovely. Oh, Chris says, hello, Fiona. Lovely to be with you both. Thank you, Chris. Thanks very much for joining us.
Lovely, Chris. I
Yes.
hope you're enjoying, the bright weather with a bottle of bubbly, a glass of bubbly, maybe.
That sounds like a good idea, Ritesh. I
Yeah.
think I'll ditch the tea and go for the bubbles.
Well, I'm also on the tea at the moment, so yeah. But you see, the
Yeah.
moment Chris comes, those ideas just bubbled up.
Ah, so Chris makes you think of alcohol. Okay.
No, good times, good
Good
times.
times, yes. Yeah.
Good times.
Oh dear. So how have things been with you, Ritesh? Have you been writing much poetry recently or anything?
No, I actually had a break, not a breakdown, but close to a breakdown with the passing of my father-in-law in India,
Oh,
and
sorry.
it was a moment where we all were kind of prepared, but as in your poem, and that's probably why I selected that. When you see a storm, you don't actually know how hard it will hit until it is there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it did hit very hard as a family to us, although he has not been in his prime since last 7 years, but
Mhm.
still an inspirational figure, especially people don't have, I think father-in-law and son-in-law, they don't have that kind of a relationship. uh, I had a very different equation with him. Very inspirational figure, and
Good, good.
so it took me a while to come back to writing poetry. Every time I'd
Mhm.
write, or I was trying to do anything creative, it was just not. I think it's in the writers, you get the writer block. So it
Yes,
was
yes,
kind of a artistic block somewhere.
yes, yes,
Um,
absolutely. Well, I'm sure
um,
everyone will join me in sending sincere condolences to you and your family, Ritesh. And I can well understand, to be creative, you've got to be in the right place to do that. And if it's not flowing, you can't force it. It's just
yeah.
not going to happen. So you just need to give these things time. And I'm so glad that you've come back to doing some writing now. Chris says here, here. Yes, I'm sure that's about condolences. So, and I'm just so pleased that you've come back to it now, at least, you know, getting there, if nothing else. And so pleased to have you back on the show.
Thank
So
you,
we,
thank you. And I must say, obviously your feed keeps popping every Wednesday, every Tuesday. Tuesday says Fiona is going to be live, and Wednesday you
yeah.
are there. And that uh, you probably won't realize it. And I'm sure it must have happened to other people as well. That those prompt is actually, it keeps telling me that there is a place, there is a safe place where I can go and talk about something. And I look forward to not only listening to them, the poets, but also coming back to the show and write something. So it was,
Good.
I'm sure your show, um, as I felt, is doing more good than you know.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you very much. If it can do that, I am so pleased. And if it can be maybe like a little anchor rock somehow for somebody or something for them to look forward to, that is just so rewarding and humbling as well. So thank you very much for that. Chris says yes, and also he's very pleased that you're back writing again. So
Thank you.
excellent. So I think we ought to start talking about some poetry as well. And this week for the show, you've written a poem about my painting called Stormy Sunset, which is virtually behind me here. And I shall bring that onto the screen. So there we go. It's a little bit bigger. It's an oil, and it was 10 by 12 inches, this one. It's one of my older ones. This is when I was using brushes more rather than knives. So it's a different style of painting. It looks quite different. And I was just trying to really get into this one a feel of the storm. It doesn't have, it wasn't intended to be, you know, totally realistic. It was trying to get that energy and that feel and, you know, the power of the storm into the painting. So
Yeah.
and this is the one that you chose. So
And did you use gold leaf or is just the colors?
no, this was before my infatuation with gold leaf, actually. So this was just the colors and the, you know, trying to get the light with the contrast between the light and the dark. That's what really makes the light stand out, having the dark surround it. So that's an idea. I may try doing a similar one with the gold leaf of this subject. It'll come out completely different, of course, especially if I do it with a knife now instead of brushes. But yes, I do have this penchant for gold leaf, as you may have noticed. So
yeah, first I did think that, you know, because when I was looking at the reflection in the sea, and obviously I was looking on mobile, didn't look at the desktop. Just now I've seen on the laptop, so it looks bigger, but on mobile, it was looking, oh, probably it's the gold leaf thing. But now you got an idea. You probably have the gold leaf version of Stormy Sunset.
It could be. It could be.
Or something else, yeah.
So would you like to read your poem for us, or talk a little bit more about what you felt from the painting, or whichever order you'd like to do it?
um, yeah, I can read the poem. It's just basically, I think, when it's a process, as you know, that when you send a couple of pictures or the link of the website to have a look at your paintings, which is going to be the subject of the poetry, is always that thing that which one, you know, speaks to me.
Yes.
And I think I asked you, do you have any dark paintings? And you said, no, I don't have any dark paintings. Which obviously, you know, so I was looking at this one and it just, you know, the stormy sunset. And I always feel sunset is, you know, it's basically, it's a point where something is ending, but there is a promise that something is going to begin as well.
Yes.
And that connection between the sunset and how it bridge with the, you know, your today and the promise of tomorrow, it is quite emotive in my experience. And I've been taking photos of sun, the dawn and the dusk, and I love both places. Dawn is something, you know, I'm so excited, a new day is rising. But with the sunset, you have this thing that you are going, you know, it's almost like you're letting go the sun, and you know that it is going to come back tomorrow, but you are still letting it go. And with those letting it go, you let go your probably emotions and sometimes bad times, you know. So I think that was the reason I was able to kind of connect with Stormy Sunset. So without further ado, as they say, let me start. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
So it's going to be same. I shouldn't say same old, but the same link poetry style.
Good.
That is
Excellent.
my style. That is what speaks to me. What my you know, heart renders. So here it is.
And we've missed your style, Ritesh.
Thank you. So, stormy sunset. Underneath a canopy of a stormy sunset, a blaze of melancholic gold that bleeds onto the seashore's portrait of sorrow, a story unfolding the stormy months past time, echoing personal loss, pain, pain mirror in the sunset's fiery blast of memory in the golden reflection of light, a moment so heavy, the shadow of the past fading glow that ebbs away the day's levy of time, the ceaseless flow of time nurtures the flow of time nurtures a resilient seed within the heart begins to thrive under the hopes of tomorrow, freed freed from the past. Hope starts to arrive does solace with the changing tide that ushers in sunset's golden light paves the path where healing resides in this stormy sunset, a promise held in sight.
That is just wonderful, Ritesh. It really, it's so full of hope. I know it's dealing with, some dark times, but it comes around and it's so full of hope and positivity. And at the end, it's beautiful,
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and longer than some of yours as well. It was lovely to have it going on longer as well. So I must encourage you to write longer ones in
Oh
future
my
as well.
God. Yeah, I think this time it took me a while to, um, but when I started, as I say, your prompts, your feeds in the Facebook, it has been prompting me to write something. Um,
Good, good.
and the moment I saw it, I think this is the symbol of both and ending and a beginning, and the
Yes.
closed day, the marked by the stormy trials of life and the hope for a brighter tomorrow. And I am a positive person. I think so.
Yeah.
And I think that
Oh,
um, now I'm.
Chris says great poem, by the way, Ritesh.
Thank you. I think it is. Yeah. The
And you are a
look.
very positive person, but sometimes things happen and it just slips for a while until you can get back to that state again, isn't it? It's you can't be positive totally 100% of the time in life because life happens. But I think, in your case, you're certainly positive a lot more of the time than you're not, which is a wonderful thing. And but you have to allow yourself times when you're not positive as well, and I think that's so important, to work things out,
Yeah.
in
That's
your head and your heart. You need to allow yourself to do that. And it's very difficult. It can be, as you say, very painful, but until you address that and let it happen, you can't come out the other side having come to peace with what's happened.
And I think, I think you, me, people who are listening, people who write poems and poetry and any form of art, I think they have been blessed with a tool by the nature, that you can use that to write, paint, create something, and
Mm.
come out of that, use that as a healing process. And I
Yes.
just now had that the moment I read the whole poem, I had that. The goosebump moment, when you feel like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
went inside and able to come out and say something. It's Yeah, a couple of lines I wrote when I was writing, and some of the lines I was not making um, into rhyming pattern.
Mhm.
Um, so I wrote a couple of lines I just want to share with you that um, in the face. So I wrote something. I was writing. So it's one of my thought processes. Sometimes I write paragraphs of whatever comes to my mind, and then
Yeah.
try to pick lines or the words and make a poetry. So sometimes I'll write in a like a journal.
Mhm.
Then
Yes.
that journal from the journal, sometimes the poetry churns out from that journal. So in that journal I was writing, and I wrote that in the face of personal storms, there's always a golden light awaiting to heal and to guide. I, so
Lovely.
it
Yeah.
was such a nice sentence. I
Yes.
just shared with my family that this is something so true. And so in the face of personal storms, and you
Mm.
always have personal storms going around, but there's
Yes.
always a golden light awaiting to heal and to guide you. So yeah,
And I think it's also allowing yourself to see that golden light rather
exactly that.
than pushing it away and hiding it as well. You need to be able to allow yourself to acknowledge it and allow it in as well, don't you? And but that will happen when the time is right.
True.
So, by the way, Chris says that your poem was full of hope and looking to the future.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think that's the effect of Fiona Hooper's paintings. See?
Oh,
Oh,
that is
we,
such a compliment, Ritesh.
we,
Thank
we,
you.
you're not elephant, but I'm saying we got to address the elephant in the room.
Well, I'm glad you prefaced that by saying I'm not an elephant. So there we go.
I
Lovely.
started that. Yeah, I didn't want you to say, "Oh, you mean I'm an elephant?" No.
I've been
uh,
called many things. I'm not sure I've been called an elephant yet, but I'm sure the day will come. But, so, Ritesh, I teased everybody at the start by saying that we might even talk about camping as well, because I
mm,
believe that you've done something very. Oh, Chris says my paintings are very inspiring. Thank you, Chris. So I believe you've done something at your grand old age, which I can say because I'm older than you, so it's not being rude, that you've never done before.
yeah, I think so. It all started with my son going to DOFE camp for the first time, and we didn't know how he's going to survive. I think these days, yeah, the children are more like, or you, if they sneeze, you say, "Oh, what happened?" And they are in a in a cloud of protection, bubble of
Mm,
protection, and he going to camping and doing 18 or something miles of trekking along the way, taking
wow.
all the camp 13-year-old. And I was like, but he was excited. I think it's the age, it's the adrenaline and the group. And he did it so well. He came back and we said, oh, if he can do that, why can't we?
Ah.
So never done any camping, never slept under the, in the tent. We have slept under the sky back in India, in
Mhm.
especially in the summertime. Uh,
Yes.
okay, but the camping was altogether different. And my wife is claustrophobic, so
Oh,
she can't stay in a close atmosphere. So we ordered a big tent.
yeah. Good,
It's,
good.
it's more like a tunnel tent with the tunnels and a big one.
Hmm.
Uh, I think
And
it was
could you
actually
stand
big.
up in it?
Yeah, it will stand. You can
Yeah.
stand. You can walk inside. And the
Oh.
first day, and we went to a place called Dumfries
Hmm.
in South Scotland, and it was amazing. Yeah, especially with the weather. It's been dry, so the weather, obviously, if it was raining, I'm sure we will be like, oh, can we look for travel lodge or
Yes.
premier inn. So, and I did have those backups in mind that in
Good
case
plan.
if in the night anybody says, me and my, especially wife and the daughter who have never done camping, and if they say no, we got enough of it, so I had that backup plan. But thankfully, uh, the weather, the ground was dry, and where we stayed, it was a campsite with lots of tents around. So you get, it was not like staying in a jungle alone. You got a
Yes.
electric hookup. You got
Ah,
a tent, a proper toilet where you can go in
ah,
a building. So
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was, and I think I must say the south part of Scotland. So we were as my son said, we are in the south of the north.
Yes.
So and the, and the place is called Southerness. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. It has got a lighthouse, and I must share some of the photographs. Is
Oh,
absolutely
please. Yes,
yeah,
please do. Yes. Put some in the comments. I'm sure people would love to see it, because
definitely.
it is a beautiful place. I mean, Scotland, I've been to Scotland a few times. In fact, I've camped in Scotland many, many years ago.
Ooh.
It was at Easter in the Cairngorms near Braemar, and we had 2 inches of fresh snow on the tent every night.
I
I
thought
think it
something was
was
coming up.
I think it was actually the last time that I camped. I
Oh,
wonder why. So
yeah,
cold. But it
I
was
know.
beautiful, but it was so cold. And we did have deer snuffling around the tent in the morning. I thought, what
Oh,
on earth's that noise? This strange noise. And we carefully looked out, and there were the deer
oh my God.
just right
Okay.
around the tents. It was so lovely, but it was so cold as well. So I'm glad you had good weather and it was dry and didn't have the cold like we had. So
I know. I think,
yeah,
especially for the novices, they need that kind of atmosphere to create a first time good experience.
absolutely.
Second time if
Yes.
it rains, we'll say, oh, it's not in my control, but hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, are you planning to go again?
Yeah, definitely. We are smitten, as they say.
Oh,
So they are like, oh yeah, can we go now? Can we go here? Can we go there? And I think with the
yeah.
camping, it's good that if you see a good weather, even of 3 days, you can quickly you can plan something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a place. Oh, Chris says he's not surprised I didn't want to camp anymore. There's a place down just to the south of Horsham, which isn't all that far from where I am.
Mm.
It's called Knepp, which is Knepp, and they have camping there with toilets and things as well, proper ones.
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful place. I think it must have been a big farm originally, lots and lots of land, and it's been rewilded, so you
Ah,
can walk around
okay.
a lot of it on the paths. But there are certain areas they ask you not to go into because it will disturb the wildlife. But we went down there a couple of weeks ago. We saw some deer and we saw some other animals, and we also saw storks. The storks
Mm.
that nest up on top of chimneys and tops of trees and supposed to deliver babies. Um, and it's a project in this country to get
Rewild.
storks back
Oh,
breeding
stop.
in this country, and to rewild that area, but to get the storks, and they are breeding there quite a lot, and
Wow.
we could see them at the top of this massive oak tree, right at the very top, and they've got the huge nest, and we could see them in the nest, and then they stood up as well, so we could see them even better, which was lovely. So but it's a lovely place to go if you're interested to find somewhere that's not
Definitely.
quite as far as Scotland. So
No, I'll
so
keep that in
might be
mind.
one to look
Yeah.
at. Yeah, but
Yeah. No, I think these projects, especially with the camping, rewilding, and in fact, while
mhm.
coming back, we stayed for a couple of nights in Buxton, in an
Oh
old
yes,
in an old quarry,
yeah,
and it had a similar kind of a scenery where you have, you know, huge numbers of birds, and in the evening they are all talking so
yes.
loud, and
Oh
the moment night came in, and they were all silent. And I was like, me and
yes,
my daughter and son, we are talking about, and that was the night of the strawberry moon. So
Oh,
we
yes.
saw the big moon rising, the color
Yeah.
and everything. And we were
Oh,
thinking how the birds, like, we were talking about, or the adults are talking and the kids are talking and adults are telling, stop the kids. And then just before the bedtime, they were like all chirping, and then the bedtime and everybody's
yes. Yeah.
calm, quiet. So,
Oh,
yeah.
lovely. And did you see any bats? Were there any bats there after at dusk?
We didn't see them. We
No.
were chased by some sheeps in the.
Oh,
They didn't like us, so they were like,
oh dear.
probably a very protective mother. Yeah, just coming to us. It's like, why she's coming us? We are not holding anything, but she was actually
Oh,
coming to, this is my territory.
oh dear.
Hello. So,
Maybe you should have tried barking at them. I'm a sheepdog, really,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Oh dear. We actually have bats here fly around the garden when it starts getting dusk, and it's
Oh,
just so lovely to see them. We're not way out in the country or anything, but it's just oh, Chris says, "Oh, Chris, a jar of mint sauce would have seen the sheep off." That's very, very naughty, Chris.
no.
Um, but yeah, we get bats in the garden. I don't know what type they are. We need to get a bat detector. You can buy a bat detector because each species of bat has a different call,
Ah,
which we can't generally hear, but the
yeah.
machine picks it up and it identifies which breed of bats or species of bat it is as well. So we need to get one of those. Christmas present, maybe, possibly.
Mhm.
Um,
It might be an
and
app. You might have an app also. There might be an app.
there could be.
There
I
could
have
be
to
an app.
check that out actually, because you can get an app for almost anything these days, can't
Yeah,
you?
I think
So
everything has an app.
yeah, that's a
The
good
plant and
point.
everything. Yeah.
Good point, Ritesh. But and also, in fact, the morning that before we went down to Nep, we were just sitting looking out at the garden, and we saw a great spotted woodpecker come to have a drink out of our bird bath.
Wow.
Never seen one here before. It was just like, my goodness, am I seeing things? And it was a
Wow.
woodpecker, which I haven't heard them, because obviously they've got the very telltale hammering with the beak on the trunk, but
Yeah.
I've not heard anything, but it was definitely a woodpecker in the garden.
Wow.
Amazing. So we had a lovely sort of weekend of nature that weekend, and sounds a bit like you did the same, but maybe not quite so friendly with the sheep.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So are you going to come back and do some more poetry for us, Ritesh, as well, hopefully now?
Yeah, definitely. Back to
Excellent.
writing few more.
Good.
In fact, for the first time, I wrote a couple of them for, you get those magazines who want to. So I've never submitted my poems for submissions.
You
So
haven't? Oh
yeah,
gosh.
I've never done anything like,
Yeah.
I think I'm someone who write it, read it, and just keep it.
Right. But they're so lovely. They deserve to be shared.
Yeah,
They
so I
deserve to be shared because it's like a painting. A painting sort of exists by other people seeing it. If
yeah,
I've painted it and no one sees it, it's not fulfilling its role in the world of creating culture. And I think that's the same with poetry. You write it, and obviously when the time's right for you, it should be shared because it's your poetry is beautiful, and you're denying people the opportunity to enjoy your poetry otherwise.
oh, wow, denying is a big word.
Yeah, by not sharing it, you're
Yeah.
denying them. So, well, that's my view, and that's only my view, and other people may differ, but
Yeah.
that's the way I feel it. The things like this, they should be shared for the enjoyment of everybody as well. And okay, not everybody will enjoy my paintings, but hopefully people will, or they'll enjoy someone else's paintings. But
Yeah,
that's fine. That's good. So, and the same with poetry. So
exactly.
yeah, share it, Ritesh. Share it with us. So
Okay. I'll
good.
try.
Well, on that positive note, we are just about at the end of our time, which has
Is
gone,
it? Oh,
I
okay.
know, amazingly quickly. So I'd like to say a big, big thank you, Ritesh, for coming back on the show. It's been fantastic having you back. And let's make it soon again when you come back next time, please.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. And as I said, this show, your poems, your it's actually acting as a prompt, and that's, I'm sure,
Yeah.
today when you go to sleep and say, "Oh, that was so nice to hear."
It really was. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And I'll be back next week with another show for you. So thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Ritesh. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
See
Bye,
you soon.
Ritesh.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.